and welcome to EN Live. First, you're going to hear about news stories from Romania and Morocco.
In Romania, a gypsy gang has snatched 200 children from their homes. The Romanian gang has brought these children to Britain and has used them as beggars, pickpocketers, and shoplifters. Also, these children have been put into trafficking. These children age from just a few months old to 17 years old. The gypsies are holding them hostage in gang houses, and the European police are investigating and working to do everything they can to get these children back to their families. And now here's Johnny with the news from Morocco.
A court in Morocco convicted 9 men for an April bomb attack that leveled a Marrakesh cafe that was filled with European tourists, killing 17 of them. Adil al-Atmani, the ringleader of the attack, was sentenced to death. Although Hakim Da, Atami's #1 man, was sentenced to life in prison, the other 7 co-defendants in the case received light sentences for 3 to 4 years, which outraged the relatives of those that were killed. And we'll be back after the break.
You probably thought this deer was alive, and this coyote was alive, and this pheasant was alive. Nope.
Some of the most respected police officers have been involved in many scandals such as drugs, prostitution, bribes, and spying on journalists in France. This has promoted Interior Minister Claude Guéant to announce on October 21st that he would impose new measurements to more closely supervise officers, especially those in close contact with inmates. One of these cases included a man named Michael Leon, who was arrested for fraternizing with criminals and bribing inmates with drugs. He admits to accepting gifts such as fancy cars and a vacation to Morocco from powerful local criminals.
And now we have Johnny with the contest of the day.
Today's contest is cutest baby pictures. Upload your baby pictures onto enlive.com or text your baby picture to 48299.
Okay, those are some great baby pictures. In Hungary, red mud containing toxic chemicals exploded from an alumina plant, spilling into the Hungarian villages. The plant dumped 700,000 cubic meters of red sludge and led to many injuries and deaths in the towns. The toxic chemicals have killed many fish and other aquatic creatures when it seeped into the rivers. And back to Johnny with the news from Spain.
In Spain, 2 workers of the Barcelona port were arrested Wednesday, October 26th in the connection with the discovery of 625 kilos of cocaine. The 2 Spaniards who worked for the port for years were arrested when they went to collect the drugs, which were hidden in 16 different sports bags among sacks of coffee stored in a container that arrived at the port from the Dominican Republic. Both men are being held in a Spanish jail awaiting trial for drug trafficking.
After the break, we'll hear news from home in Italy.
This is the Motor City. This is what we do.
In Italy, after a 4-year-old boy passed away, his parents are left to question. Luca Monsaletto was a 4-year-old boy who was suffering from a cough for about 3 weeks. Mr. Monsaletto, Lucille's father, a 52-year-old man who has been a doctor in alternative medicine for over 20 years, admitted to giving his son fennel tea instead of the proper medication needed for his cold. When his conditions worsened, they took him to the hospital. When Lucille arrived at the hospital, the doctors described him as pale, thin, and breathless. After his death, prosecutors opened a manslaughter investigation against Lucille's parents. They say that they are responsible for his death because they didn't give him the treatment he needed when he was ill. And now we have Hannah with news from the Ukraine.
Over the summer, the Ukraine finally broke away from their Soviet past. In their 20th anniversary of independence, President Viktor Yanukovych said, We see democratic modernization as the final break with our Soviet past. He has promised to strengthen the state's public power during the constitutional reform. The next elections are scheduled for October 2012 and must be held within a new legislative framework. And we'll be back after the break.
On lazy days when it's chilly, turning up the heat costs money, and wrestling with blankets is silly. This one's too big, that one's too small, and a blanket can't cover it all. If you want to stay warm, you need Forever Lazy, the one-piece, lie-around, lounge-around, full-body lazy wear.
Welcome back to EN Live.
Britain's Defense Minister Liam Fox has resigned because of an uproar over a friend who worked as an advisor but didn't have an official government position. His friend was his best man in his wedding. The two started a private investment fund for Sri Lanka that went against their country's policy. Their country only wanted to have relief efforts, and that's it for them. His government has cut off all assistance with Sri Lanka, so it really went against the government's policies. Liam Fox says he's really sorry for getting his personal and work life mixed up, and he's just now realizing the consequences.
In one of the most bizarre cross-border judicial disputes in European history, on Saturday, October 22nd, Dieter Kronbach, 76 years old, was found guilty of manslaughter in the death of his 14-year-old stepdaughter, Kalinka Bomberski, in 1982. As in 1987, a German court refused to charge Kronbach with the murder of Kalinka while they were in France. Kalinka's biological father, Andrei Bomberski, 74, in 2009 arranged to have Kronbach kidnapped and brought to France to stand trial. Bomberski is overjoyed with the guilty verdict, even though he will now have to face criminal charges himself for the kidnapping.
Thanks for watching EN Live. See you tomorrow for some more news about Europe.